And then we've got Goose and a train. But, yeah, neat scenery out here in the middle of nowhere.
Let's leave everything and go traveling. See what tomorrow brings. It's only a choice away. Let's back up and leave today. Let's see what tomorrow brings.
Well, last time we left you, we were in beautiful Northwestern Argentina, making our way towards Cachi through some of Argentina's crazy beautiful wine region for some connection to the outside world. We did make it to Cachi, where we found some Wi-Fi, posted a video, and then continued making our way north on Argentina's Ruta 40. We drove until about 6:30 that night before pulling just out of sight off the road into a little canyon. Again, thankful for Goose's capabilities. We are almost always able to find a quiet place to spend the night where there are seemingly none. In the morning, we were allowed to sleep in a little thanks to the canyon wall's shade, but by 8 a.m. we were up and moving, crawling back through the 100 yards of boulder-filled wash. You're okay? You're gonna come down on that side first, and now you're gonna start coming down here. You're okay? Okay? You got it? Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. You got it? You're almost to the top? Now you're gonna come down? We get asked a lot if you need a vehicle like Goose to travel the Pan American. And the answer is certainly no. In fact, if you were sticking to the actual Pan American, you could do it in a Prius. But we try to avoid the Pan American as much as possible, because for us, being able to get to those tougher places off the beaten path is top priority. And therefore, Goose makes sense for what we want out of our travels. He can get us to those remote, hard-to-get-to places. You may seek something else from your travels. So my advice would be, take note of your priorities in traveling, and then think about how a vehicle will fit in best, keeping in mind that with a tool like a capable truck comes a lot of responsibility. You should learn how to use that tool. Tim and I are both very confident with off-road driving and recovery, so we don't feel like we are in over our heads using Goose to the best of his abilities. Actually, he is way more capable than we push him to most of the time. But anyway, all that to say, this tiny obstacle of a wash with boulders is something that is seemingly small, but we love that Goose can take us there. What vehicle would you guys travel in if you could pick anything? We're steadily heading up this morning. We're still in the desert. I don't know if it'll still look like desert once we're up in the mountains.
I don't know if there'll be a tree line. We might just get up to the mountains and it'll be really high and above the tree line. Because it's getting chillier, and I think we're over 10,000 now already.
Which is crazy.
Still looks like desert though, huh?
Yeah. So we're gonna air down a little bit because we're on just a dirt road that's a little bit washboardy, so make it a little bit more comfortable. Air down. We're actually on Route 40. But yeah, really pretty drive. Camped in a canyon again last night, and not sure what we'll find today. love the little stuff we come across on these roads. This whole rock is just like seeping. It's really pretty, so many different colors. Take a look. Eventually, we made it to the little town of San Antonio de los Cobres, which sits at 12,385 feet, meaning we had climbed just over 4,000 feet since we left Cachi the day before, and we were only going up from here. Our goal was to make it to a remote abandoned mine on the border of Chile and Argentina. It's a place that takes some serious fuel range to even consider visiting, so we squeezed every drop of fuel into Goose before we headed out. Another reason we love Goose. Tim had done lots of figuring to make sure we could attempt the drive. This place was seriously in the middle of nowhere. If we ran out of gas there, it would not be good. So it was with a hint of anxiety and a lot of excitement we set out towards Mina La Casualidad. That afternoon, we made it 53 miles into nothingness. We had passed one giant solar plant, but other than that, it was all ghost towns out here, making for an eerie setting as we popped the top. A little hill was our only protection from the harsh wind.
I'm just adjusting this latch. First time I've ever adjusted it, which is kind of staggering to me. Had this bumper on here, God, it's got to be 7 years, something like that. Could be more even, actually. Could be 8 years. And finally, after all the rattling, all the weight on this rear bumper, it was starting to move a little bit, so I just tightened these two nuts. I'm tightening the lock nuts right now, and then it'll just much more firmly hold everything closed. So locks into place. Yeah, a lot better, a lot less movement now. So simple fix, but we're tired. We didn't sleep last night. It's 13,000 and change here, about where we're at.
Yeah.
Even high 13s maybe. And we came up here too quickly. We were at 9,000 or so for a couple of nights, 8 and then 9. And then all of a sudden, bam, you're up at 13.7, 13.8. There's nowhere to get down around here. Everything's high or higher than this. So we're gonna go check out some of these old mines. Really cool area, but out of breath, and neither of us slept. So it's just one of those days where we'll probably drink plenty of coffee, sodas, and not push it too much. But your brain just doesn't feel right up here. If you start getting headaches, then the only thing you can do, from what I've read, is go down. So not a lot of choice. If we still feel crappy later today, we'll just have to push through and keep driving and get lower.
Okay, again, the things you find are out on the salt flat. Look at that little like pond. It's so blue, salty. It's actually pretty deep. It's crazy beautiful. It's actually not as cold as I would have thought.
Really?
I mean, it's cold, but I figured we would do a little update. We're heading out. We're on salt flats again.
5, 4, 3, 2.
All right. So we had a rough night. We came up to elevation pretty quickly, and so last night was
Gorgeous.
just hard to sleep. But we're on salt flats right now.
We're kind of on a raised road in the salt flats,
Yeah.
just like at the smaller uni. Some of it is smooth enough to drive, and then a lot of it's wet and nasty, so they build up a little raised road. We're up on a built-up raised road, and this road takes you to some mines out here. These mines, we're pretty sure, are no longer in use. They weren't for a long time, but we've heard from some folks that some of these old mines have been reactivated. But this town is something like I'll look at the data and tell you about it later, but thousands of people lived in this town out here in the middle of nowhere. We are, well, let's see, from a town that had, let's say, like a normal restaurant or a bar, I would say that was Kachi. Yeah, but even Kachi was probably the most normal town.
Yeah.
We are 3 days drive.
Yeah.
And then the little town that we got gas in is really just a mining town, and we're a day's drive from there. And then we've still got a full day at least to get to the mine, so it's really remote. I don't know why we're so possessed to go see it, but I think it'll be cool, and it'll just be something different and unique that most people aren't taking the time to go see. So
yeah, and we're actually really near the border of Chile.
Yeah.
And the original plan was just to cross into Chile after we kind of did a little loop out here. And Chile has been kind of melting down a little bit for the last month or, well, actually a couple weeks.
Yeah, just it was really recent, it's only been like, a week and a half or something, but we're not sure what to do. I think it'll be fine. I think Chile is going to be fine. I mean, we went into Nicaragua, which was a much more dicey situation, just a month or so after it had melted down, and it was beautiful, perfect, not an issue, not even a sign that there had been all this upheaval. So I think we'll be fine in Chile, but we don't want to get there and not be able to buy fuel, not be able to buy food, and get stuck somewhere. That's what we really want to avoid.
Yeah, and then here tomorrow is the presidential elections starting, so not sure what that will mean for Argentina as far as protests and that sort of thing. So we kind of are just
giant truck
where we're at.
So we're gonna hang out and let him go past. But yeah, so you never know, right? All of South America, it can get dicey, I mean, not dicey in a health and wellness sense.
No, I don't think we'd get hurt. It's just more like you can't get supplies, you can't get food, you can't get gas. So
people getting hurt are participating in the protests and the roadblocks and the riots and the whatever happens.
Usually bigger cities and
So we just hopefully are able to avoid all the bad stuff and not get stuck anywhere. I think we're going to go into Chile, but it really depends what big old mining truck, man. There's some heavy equipment out here, and these guys haul. But it really depends on what the news says in a day or two.
Yeah.
And if it says things are starting to calm down, there's still some protests in Santiago, then I think we're just going to go for it.
Yeah.
The internet's fantastic when you can get it. There's no cell service and no Wi-Fi anywhere in this part of the country except when you find these little towns and outposts.
And then really slow internet, maybe.
But if you can just pull up even text-only information on what's going on, I think we'll hopefully feel confident enough that it's winding down. And
So we're in beautiful country. A little tired.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see some cool stuff. We've already seen some cool stuff today, so.
Yeah, and then, when you have elevation headaches, there's really not much you can do about it. Yeah, you can take a bunch of different drugs, but essentially the best thing is just to acclimatize.
Yeah,
so
drink a lot of water.
Today we're feeling a little better, drink a lot of water. We still have some coca candies from Bolivia if we need them. And I think that's how we'll get through the next day. And then we'll just be looking forward to getting hopefully into Chile and down into the Atacama Desert and much, much lower elevation.
make it through this cool, like, I don't know if sandstone is the right word, canyon. It's like mud hills.
Yeah,
but it's like very Star Wars-esque. I feel like you could film Star Wars here.
Yeah, it's road's wild, and like you're just, a rally car would be great in here because you are turning at all times basically. But I assume this whole road was made initially to get to that mine. But wow, the whole bunch of ore through here would just suck.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Cool landscape, very otherworldly. This area is known as the Desierto del Diablo and is one of Argentina's starkest landscapes, looking a lot like Mars. Just on our route up to the mines, tiny little abandoned old town, and there's a cool passenger car just abandoned here. Don't know if these tracks get used. The car is off to the side on just a little tiny track, but yeah, beautiful, really cool, fun to explore around. Just a few buildings. Tim's out there looking at them. I'll go check them out in a minute. And then we've got goose and a train. But, yeah, neat scenery out here in the middle of nowhere. Can you imagine trying to live out here? It's such an insanely harsh climate, and it seemed there was always a reminder of just how harsh it was. Thanks for watching, guys. Join us in the next episode as we make it to the epic and also creepy Mina la Casualidad. It's one you won't want to miss. And speaking of not missing anything, don't forget to subscribe so you can see whenever we post a new video. See you next time. I can do it on here.
What's that?
Fancy technology.
Wow. Beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop. We learned how to use our GoPro.